Hello and welcome to the Fit for Life podcast with your host, Alan Fitton. In this podcast, I will be covering fitness-related subjects and my experiences to do with nutrition, building muscle and weight loss to name a few, and how, above all, to keep fit for life. So, hello and welcome back to the Fit for Life podcast. As you can see, I'm joined by someone today. We've got our first guest on here. So this is Ben Campbell, himself a PT and an online coach. And today we're going to be having a chat, interviewing him and finding out about his past, what got him into fitness, what his passions, what his loves are, what his favorite food is, most importantly, and have a real good chit chat about fitness and that. So welcome, Ben.
Welcome. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. So first of all, tell us about who you are, what you do. The floor is yours, mate.
No, I will take the floor. Right. So, shock. I am a personal trainer and online coach. You would never have thought it, on a fitness podcast. Wow. Oh my goodness. But no, yeah, I've been, fitness industry for the last 5 years, since 18, now 23 for reference. Started off as a fitness instructor because I got sick of working in retail, which I think is probably a lot of people's story. You're gonna get, you're sick of going beep, beep, beep. So yeah, got my fitness instructor qualification, started off there, taking some classes, learning the ropes, so to speak, and jumped in and out of that for a while, done a few other things, tried to do some studies, things like that. Eventually goes, I'll get my personal trainer qualification, just like everybody in the country has one these days, but it is what it is. And then thought, you know what, I've got some free time in my hands, I'll try and build up an online coaching service that hopefully provides fitness in a sustainable fashion and not like all the money scrounging people there is out there that just spread misinformation and unfortunately ruin a lot of people, but here we are.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think that there's a lot about that. Interesting. Going back to doing your fitness code, do you get given that statistic of how many PTs are successful and how many are not?
No, but I know it's not great. It's definitely not great.
Because as you said, I think a lot of people obviously most people have a genuine interest in fitness and health and that. So I think people care about it. And so a lot of people do a qual and I think they realize, I think the kind of book drops 12 months in and they're like, actually, this is hard work. It's not,
no, it's nothing easy. It's nothing light. I mean, you could make it easy and make it light, but I'll tell you one thing, you'll do it for a year or two and you're going to have to go get a part-time job. Like, I think that the main problem, and I remember me and one of my friends talking about this, he's a fitness manager in one of the gyms that I worked in. But the what would you call it? The barrier to entry, or the entry barrier, sorry, to do a level 3 qualification or even a level 2, it's too low. Anybody can do it, and I think it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah. I think that there's not enough. I don't think there's enough knowledge and education given between the two. I think your level 3 is very much similar to your level 2 in retrospect of your practical and everything like that. I think it's very easy to do and to get through, and then for someone to have that insurance and that. Like, I've seen trainers here that have got the quals and started PTing people, getting people to do one RMs in the first week of PT, and
you're just screaming on the inside. You're left.
You are, and you think, but you think back to the qual and like, well, the qual should be teaching these people to start from the ground up and not to be chugging people at the other end and straight into the deep end and putting people's livelihoods and health and wellness at risk because of not programming effectively.
I know it's hard to gauge. I genuinely, it might sound a bit crazy, but it might help the industry as a whole if there was genuinely a sit-down test that you had to complete to have a basic knowledge of nutrition, fitness, anatomy before you even get into doing your level 2 fitness instructor. I'm all open for anyone should be open to do anything they want, and I get that you probably have to 9 times out of 10 pay for your level 2 fitness instructor course and pay for your level 3. I know some people going through colleges and things like that can get it for free, but I mean, the statistic of how many people complete these qualifications, and I mean never ever use them, and if they do, as we both know, last 6 months to a year is beyond. I don't know. There needs to be something put in place because it ruins it for the good coaches. You get lost in the mixture of people that are inexperienced and took people on too quickly, too soon, and almost ruined it for them. And it might take them 5 years to ever reach out to a coach again. And then you're left to fix up the pieces.
Yeah.
which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but yeah, I just think something needs done.
Yeah. No, I think a lot could be done. We could be done with it, couldn't it, to improve it, definitely.
100%.
So let's jump into a bit more of your past, Ben. So tell me a bit more about your past. Have you always been into fitness? Have you always been into sport? Has it always been like a common big interest for you? What past they got the fire burning for you?
It's hard to say. Well, I mean, in terms of exercise and actual sport, I mean, growing up, my family's like working class family, manual labor jobs. So nobody really watched much sport. I mean, it was on in the background sort of thing. I kind of just picked up football randomly myself. Random thing. I remember 2005, it was George Best, obviously, the only decent footballer that came out of Northern Ireland, passed away. And obviously his, connection with Manchester United. I remember sitting down and watching the thing on TV. And then I started picking up football from there.
Right.
And then I remember one of my uncles randomly coming down and being like, would you like to join a football team? Like I would have played football in P6 to start with. Joined a football team, rocked up to football training with a pair of goalkeeper gloves. This is like a proper like team thing. You do that if you go to like one of those fun weeks during the summer, like you'll bring your gloves and stuff. But I rocked up, looked like an absolute dick. Got made fun of within about 2 seconds, which, quickly took the gloves off whenever it was. But yeah, no, started football when I was, I want to say 11, 12.
Right.
And then the whole way kind of throughout school, being the lanky, skinny kid, always done cross country, high jump, sports. I love football. Like I can't lie. That's my first passion, and I think it always will be. It will never go anywhere. Did enjoy sports in school, tried rugby, but when you're built like a lamppost, you kind of get hit about enough to the point where you go, nah, I don't think rugby's for me, I think I'll stay away from that. So no, football was first. Life rolled on, continued to play football, still play football. And then fitness kind of came in. Well, the gym kind of came in when I was like 17, 18, which being 23 doesn't sound like it was that long ago, but to me, it feels ages ago. So like anyone listening, like, trust me, that feels like about 20 years ago, but even though it was like 5 or 6. But no, started the gym from there, and it was very much, was just so sick and tired of like wearing t-shirts and my arms looking, it sounds so pathetic, but like terrible, like skinny, like twigs. Like you would just constantly wear hoodies and clothes to like cover up. And I'm sure it's like, it's the weird because it's the same things, but on the opposite end of the spectrum, if you're overweight, you'll still cover up, you'll still wear baggy clothes.
That's what I was like. That was me.
It does make sense, but you think about it, it doesn't in a weird way. But that kind of kicked off. Got a girlfriend. Wow, I know, the ginger person got a girlfriend. I think I was like 16. I think that lasted for 2 years.
All right.
And yeah, well, I know, here, that's long for for being 16, I suppose.
Yeah.
That lasted about 2 and a bit years. It ended pretty tragically. So I was like, coming out of that, then I was like, oh my days, you are skinny. Like it was, I never like clocked that between like being in a relationship, but you kind of get comfortable. You don't really care. And you're also 16, 17. So I'm sure I wasn't thinking too much about it. But to kind of backtrack a wee bit, I always remembered in school, there'd be the odd time our PE teacher came in around 3rd year, and he was like a rugby guy. He was quite decently built, and he took us to the gym once, and everyone could do a pull-up except for me.
Really?
And that stuck with me, like weirdly, because I don't know, in my head I was like, well, you're really tall, so you're heavy, and your skinny arms don't support your frame, which in a roundabout way is right, but I was like, I can't do a pull-up. And then got a girlfriend, and that went away. So it's like, I don't care about the pull-ups, it's fine, whatever. But then coming out of the relationship, I was like, Flip, you're skinny. Like, you need to do something about this. So obviously, what do? You pick up the gym. Start going to the local council gym. It must have been the same size as, I don't know, a generic shed. It had like a Smith machine, a few dumbbells, a few cable machines, and I think most people there were just there to sit in the sauna in the steam room, and were probably about in their middle 50s, 60s or something like that. But went there, started from there, started eating everything, drinking everything. Do you know those shakes that have like 1,000 calories per scoop?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Me, when I first got into the gym, me and my mate used to go to a place called DW on the Frontier, and the milky, it was a glass bottle, It looks like a medicine bottle.
Yeah.
And we used to always chug one of them after training. I did not know about calories and nutrition or anything like that. And we used to have a challenge. We'd down it, then try and smash it afterwards. And we never could, because I don't know what these glass bottles were made out of, but they could take a hammer and like, we used to love them. It's just milk and chocolate. It's just like,
Yeah. It's
like
just
crap.
calories, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I remember sat down, calculated calories, looked at everything, started researching what a calorie was, how do calories work. YouTube was my best friend. I think I had a few friends that maybe kind of were into things fitness wise, but weren't overly too much in it. I kind of started it for the friend group. Well, for the friends that I had at the time anyway. And yeah, I remember coming home from the gym, watching people like David Lade. I don't know if you've seen him, just the most aesthetically pleasing person you've ever come across in your life. And that was kind of I'll try and look like him. I'm probably the same height, why not? Definitely never going to be the case. But yeah, I remember just coming home, filling up a 2 liter bottle of water with 2 scoops, which was about 2,000 calories. Goodness knows how many carbs, proteins, fats. And I remember sitting at my kitchen table with my granny and granda, just downing it every day. And you know what? I must have went from 11 stone to about 13 stone in 6 months. And it was good because I felt like I was bigger. I was filling out t-shirts. Life was good. Like, don't get me wrong, there was a wee bit of body fat, but when you're tall, like, you don't notice it as much.
You don't know.
So it was like, is what it is. And then slowly but surely after that, just started to like dabble in different, like, because I just trained like a bodybuilder. I didn't even know I was training like a bodybuilder. Sort of thing. Everything was like 3 times 12, 15 supersets, bang, 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 bang. And then slowly, like, kind of throughout the years of joining the gym and different gyms and picking up different friends and different training modalities, tried a wee bit of like, I wouldn't say CrossFit to a degree, but like different aspects of everything, and kind of almost, because I knew long term if I wanted to be a PT, like having these training modalities and understanding how they work and different sets and reps and why you do this and how you move and would eventually help me out. So yeah, like in the short time period that I think I've been in fitness, the amount of things that I've kind of went through in a good way, like in terms of training, like strength training, bodybuilding training, wee bit of calisthenics, wee bit of CrossFit, wee bit of this, wee bit of that. I think it's really kind of like probably why made me the coach that I am now in a weird way.
It is as to your scope, doesn't it? I think you can't, like anything in life, I don't think you can comment on anything until you've tried it yourself or done it yourself, can you? You know what I mean? I think it's one of life's many experiences. So the fact that you had all those training principles but ticked off before coming a PT just means that your knowledge was already at a better basis than the majority of people before you got started.
But no, it was like, I think that was, well, suppose what fitness, exercise has always been football in the gym. That's what kind of back and forth has always been the thing. And then how do you balance? I remember like being like at my heaviest, maybe 14.5 stone-ish. And then I remember coming back to like my first pre-season of football being 14.5 stone, and I was moving like a bus. Oh my days. Like, I was like, no, I can't, like, there has to be something in between this. Like, I can't be 14.5 stone and trying to run about a football pitch for 90 minutes. Like, first time I personally, from being skinny to being heavier, the first time I ever felt my own weight. Which is so strange, because I'm sure a lot of people feel their own weight on a daily basis. But like, it was like, oh my days, like I actually now I'm able to empathize with people who are
bigger,
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stone heavier than me, getting up off a chair. I wouldn't want to get up off a chair. Like, I don't blame them. Like, it's hard, but no, football in the gym, always back and forth from that. Tried to find balance between it, because there's been many days where you do legs on a Monday, football training on a Tuesday, and you come to a match on a Saturday and you've still got DOMs. Like, there's nothing, like, honestly, there's nothing worse. Like, I'm sitting and warming up for this match, and I'm like, my legs are so sore.
Pounding.
Everything's so sore. So it was finding the balance between that. And I still to this day, it's football, it's the gym.
Football and gym. It's good that you went through that again, as a life experience, the fact that you went through putting some weight on, and then you went to the pitch, and you were then able to identify with bigger people. I think that's, I think a lot of the struggle with a lot of people, of trainers, that they don't know what it's like to be big. And I spoke about that a few podcasts ago. what it's like to have like 40 kilos on your back, trying to do a squat, go up a height of stairs, trying to run around on a football pitch. It feels different. And as you said, you just don't want to move. You just rather sit on your arse and do nothing because it's easier.
100%. That's hard.
But it's good with you. I mean, football's a really good sport because it's like HIIT training, isn't it? Because 1 minute you're jogging, next minute you're sprinting.
Oh it's constant.
It's such a good sport to do. I've got 2 left feet. I can't play football. Legitimately, I played football with my best mates. Whereas we used to work in Matalan. It's funny they spoke about retail because I worked in retail for like 13, 14 years. And last time we played football, I legitimately tripped up my own foot. I was sprinting with the ball, trying to control. And left foot went over right. I literally face planted the floor. Happened. Oh, well,
I think that's probably signing off that it maybe isn't for you.
Yeah.
100%.
100%. Not a sport for me. But yeah, awesome. So who or what is, I mean, you spoke about David Lade a minute ago. He has got one hell of he's genetically blessed individual. He's got an incredible physique. I think Arnie was one of my biggest inspires, more bodybuilding. But so who or what is your biggest inspiration? This can be in life, this can be in fitness, which you answer both if you want, whichever particular way you want to go.
It's hard. It is hard because especially like whenever, I don't know, I always like people, like you'd come across people and you ask them who their inspiration is. And I mean, it would roll off their tongue instantly.
Yeah.
Like they'd have it in their head. No, it's that person. I want to be like that person. I want to be like that person. And I'm like, I don't know. Like I have people in mind that I would like to take things from. And it's usually like a collective of people that I would like to have loads of traits from. That then would like somehow make me more balanced and better person and all those types of things. I mean, if you were coming from a footballing standpoint, it is so generic, it's so basic, but like Cristiano Ronaldo, you can't fault the man in a sense. So you can't, in terms of professionalism, I mean, I'm sure you might, if you're up to date with the news and everything that's going on in the minute, you might have seen things here and there. But I mean, at the end of the day, to be 37, 38 years of age at the top of your game, still on to push, doing the things that you do and waking up, probably eating the same foods every day since he was 20, 21, 22. Like I mean, we complain about not wanting to put people on diets for any longer than 12 weeks. That man has been in a constant regime for about the guts of 20 years. And I think from a dedication standpoint, I mean, he's an unbelievable footballer and all that, but I think that's maybe past, my limitations and that sort of thing. But just kind of the way he holds himself. The dedication side of things. And I think that goes the same with if I was to pick someone in fitness, I couldn't pick David Lade because I mean, it isn't just genetics, but you slowly realize that, that's a massive factor. I think Ronnie Coleman, because obviously, bodybuilder, strongman at one stage at the start, did bodybuilding, obviously there's a lot of PEDs involved and performance enhancing things, which is what it is. And obviously helps you to get to where you need to be. But at the same time, the man worked a full-time job, ate out of Tupperware, trained every day that he could, as hard as he could, every single day, whether he's feeling it or not. He got himself under a barbell and just done things and moved things. And I don't think you could fault someone like that. I think you'd go a long way to find a bad word about him. So you would. So I guess like some of his traits, I think it all just stems from me as discipline, because that's something that I have kind of, I don't know, lacked is maybe the wrong term, but just if I was to take my school life, like I didn't do great in school at all. Like, I mean, was just the class clown, got a laugh out of making other people laugh.
Yeah.
Done well in PE, which I mean, isn't incredibly difficult to do. But in terms of, I remember getting my GCSEs and I failed maths, failed English, passed one science, passed PE. That's a good job. Got a B. Didn't even get an A, got a B. And I'm meant to be good at it. And I think everything else was like a D or an E. And just never been a forte of mine to be able to be, because I think that's an element of discipline. Like I would just come home and think nothing of just leaving homeworks to just, I mean, when I say last minute, I mean like last minute. And then either just being okay with not doing them and just, I don't know, a lack of respect really for those sort of things. And even in the short period of time from leaving school and doing other qualifications and looking things, it's always been something that I'd rather have more of in my life than less.
Yeah.
So I guess trying to look at people like that and trying to absorb whatever discipline they have in their body and bring it into my own life has been has been massive from a fitness and football standpoint. I mean, if someone who is inspirational in terms of, I don't know, life in general, it had to be my granddad, 100%. For context, I never knew my dad. So like mom had me really, really young. Never knew my dad, which was fine. He actually lives like really close to me, which is weird, right? So it's not as if like he's in another country and isn't aware of my existence.
Right.
Lives like down the road, which is really weird. Another day, another story. But my granddad was basically my dad. So like, well, to me he was anyway. And I
Yeah.
mean, like not that he was the same as Cristiano Ronaldo and Ronnie Coleman, but I mean the
No.
man just got up, went to work, discipline, provided for his family, and just still, even though life was so grim at times, still found joy in making other people's laugh. Like just, I don't know, just the aura of his existence and even just being in a room with you was like enough to make you want to do better
Yeah.
in a weird way. It's weird
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
talk about it in that sense, but like, and it is so much deeper and there's more, way more to it than probably words would ever actually, be able to put it together sort of thing. But yeah, I'd have to say Granda one, probably Cristiano Ronaldo two, just because Cristiano Ronaldo, and then
Yeah.
Ronnie Coleman slips in third.
No, that's good. I think it's a good way that you brought that down there. Taking traits off many individuals that have success, and success is measured in different ways. It's not one isn't one rule of thumb for success or for
No,
happiness
no.
or
I mean, if
anything.
we all wanted money, I don't think we'd be personal trainers. Honestly, no. To
Very
put it as
true.
blunt as that,
True
like
story. True
if you
story.
wanted an easy life, there's way so many other avenues you could go down. I mean,
Yeah.
fitness is amazing, but at times, like it's the most or one of the most inconsistently paying jobs there is out there. I'd have to say.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of work to put in to get
To get anything back
to get that
from it.
back. But that's why I guess it requires to be a passion and a love of yours. So so you push that hard
Mhm.
on, so you can get that comeback. So
No,
yeah, no,
definitely.
they're brilliant. So we've got another DP here.
Okay.
So passion.
Oh, flip.
What is your biggest passion in life? And why? It can be fitness, non-fitness related. It can be
That is a deep
going to
one.
play
Like,
darts at the weekend. It can be anything. Don't feel that it has to be
passion.
obviously no football's up there, but
Yeah, no, football's up. I mean, football is a relentless thing that you can be 12 years of age and you know whether you're going to make it or not. So yeah, I mean, I played it decent. I got to a semi-professional level of football where in Northern Ireland, which probably isn't even the same as semi-professional in England, but I mean, that was cool.
that's impressive though.
It's something, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like anything because you're like, it is what it is sort of thing. But no,
You
that was
had a
cool.
you had a knee injury from that, didn't you? Was that
Yeah, no, well, I say it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was bad enough. It was actually one of my own teammates that caused the injury, which sounds a bit mad. It's just a whole tangle of legs. Ended up, it wasn't that bad. It was like nearly a grade two MCL tear, and then I
right?
think everything else was okay. So, I mean, it could have been a lot worse. It could have been like a complete tear of an MCL or an ACL, and usually when either one of those go, your meniscus gets damaged as well. But it was just that one, and it was like 12 weeks recovery time, which
Right, that's
I
not so
mean, some
bad then.
people get stuff on their right for freaking ages.
Yeah,
But passion, no, that is, I guess it all intertwines with kind of everything you do in a sense, your passion in a weird way, because over the time, kind of falling back on kind of my granddad, how he was. I mean, the man could have worked 16 hours, came home in absolute bits, and he would have told you he was in the bits, like he was a massive complainer, like, and that's probably why I rant on and complain as well. But I mean, if I was honestly 200 miles down the road and was like, yo, can you give me a lift? Would complain about it, but I mean, just would get up and do it every single time.
wow.
So that almost going out of your way for everybody else and
Yeah,
relentlessly trying to help other people would be my own passion. And I don't think obviously that directly correlates into being a PT and an online coach, because I mean that's what you're there to do. Like you're there to help people.
yeah,
Like you're there to support people and help people. But I think my own passion would just be that relentless approach to wanting to help people, no matter what the case is. And sometimes it shoots you in your foot because you do too much for people and you forget about
yeah,
yourself. But I think I'd rather do that and get to the end of my life and be like, oh, I should have done more
Yeah.
for myself. Rather, I could rather be known to have done more for other people, sort of thing, than myself, which, you know,
Yeah.
I think is okay. And so I think overall the passion is definitely just to help as many people as possible, whether that's family, whether that's friends, whether that's fitness, whatever the case may be, whether it's financial help. If I can help, I'll help. If it's fitness or knowledge, if I can help, I'll help. If, you know, whatever the case may be, I think it's just to almost try and, they always kind of say that you try and fill your dad's shoes, but you never do it, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, just try and fill them as much as I can, help as many people as I can, regardless of their situation, which, you know, sometimes, as I said, can shoot you in the foot, but sure, it is what it is.
But I think, as you said, I think it's a better way to be. My mum was a very selfless individual, and I think I try to base myself very much on her, and I think I'm very similar to her in some respects like that. So I think why we get on so well, I think quite possibly is because our personality, we are quite similar in a lot of aspects. More like about you and the content that you portray on. Obviously, we'll get into like the TikTok and obviously the awesome content that you produce. Is it's very personal, relatable. You're not like trying to be someone you're not. You just you know on a same like playing field as everyone, and just talking to people like the human, trying to shoot down all the misinformation and just trying to give good.
I know,
good facts,
but sometimes I feel
people,
like I even say this to people, like whether it's on a call or a voice note, like sometimes I'm overly blunt. Because like in my head, like I don't want to waste any time I have or any time anybody else has had. So I will be blunt with you. But sometimes like I forget to put on my like empathetic hat or empathy hat and like, realize that they may not like your bluntness too much. But in my head, I'm like, oh, well, I'm saving them time, because if someone just fills their head full of crap, they could waste, I don't know how much time or months or years on something, whether it's fitness related, work related, relationship related. Like if you blow smoke up someone's ass, like you don't realize that they could just run along with what they're doing for another 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, and then the penny drops. Where if you had just told them what it was like from the start, sort of they might understand it better. And I think we kind of touched on it before we started, recording and all that. Like I kind of said that with online coaches and online clients, like I tend to attract people who have had a lot going on. And I think looking at it now, it's probably because of the content I create in a weird way, because I feel like because I am so blunt, it might make them feel safe. And then once you're safe, you kind of have a place or a position or a person where you can kind of just give everything to. Whereas I feel like a generic like fat loss, muscle building coach, like like generic people will go to you because they'll be like, oh, well, I want to lose fat for a wee bit and I want to build muscle for a wee bit, or I want to learn something. Whereas like I think it takes a lot for someone who has maybe ongoing issues to kind of reach out. And I feel like I somehow weirdly attract that type of people, which is brilliant because
you're personal and relatable. You're a person, you're not a number. And that obviously breeds off into how you talk to people, how you relate to people. It's very important, so as a personal trainer and a coach, our jobs are to not only help people lose weight and XYZ, but we interact with people. And our job is to get the best out of people and to educate people and to make sure that they're getting to where they want to be, and giving them value. I think that's one of the biggest factors. And obviously what you're doing with all your social media, you're giving value. And people will come to you that appreciate that content that you produce and the value you're giving them, and they want more from you because you're a personal, relatable person. So it
all makes sense in a weird way.
It's good. That's good, man.
A really weird way, but yeah.
So we're gonna chill out a little bit now. Are you a foodie? Favorite food and drink?
I don't know if I am, right. I thought I have seen, obviously you sent me through a few kind of pointers to go off in terms of questions, and I sat and I really thought about it, and I was like, I could, if I, could never gain any weight ever, I would sit and I would just eat, which is fair enough. But I must just rotate. I think I hope everyone else is like this. I just rotate through like the same like 12 to 15 foods throughout the week. Like, it sounds so boring, but to me it's great. And then I was like, right, I need to pick a favorite. Does it need to be food, or can it be like?
It can be anything. It doesn't have to be anything specific.
Favorite drink. This is you'll probably be sick of this. Is milk.
Really?
Yeah, because I thought about it. I was like, right, well, do I have one that stands out? Like I like different ones for different reasons, depending on what you're eating and what you're doing. But I was like, what is the most consistent drink in my life that isn't water? Gotta be milk. which makes sense because I drank out of a bottle until I was about 7 years of age, which
Oh yeah,
sounds
that's true.
crazy. Not
Yeah,
like, my mom wasn't like rocking me to sleep or anything. I was just like, yo, give me some more milk.
yeah.
And then
Drip
mom
of
was like,
milk.
you know what, you're like 6 or 7, you should probably stop doing that. And then I just keep drinking milk. Yeah.
Okay.
And then if I was to think of foods that I snack on, it differs from week to week, but anything baked, like any, like, you go to Tesco's, you go like the bakery aisle, whether it's like cinnamon swirls,
Mhm.
donuts, cookies, like, yeah, if I open up, I got, honestly, PT or not, if I open a pack of cookies, they're gone. Especially if I have milk, like they're finished. Like
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie, like they're gone. So it has to be that. If I had to pick normal food, I don't know, probably something boring like a steak or a pizza because it's just
Okay.
the go-to, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So
Um,
do you have like will you have like do you have like one takeout a week? Do you like treat yourself to a takeout a week? Do you have something if when you feel like it?
um,
What you like with like
just as and when. Some
yeah,
weekends I'm like, no, because like I'll always have like a Sunday dinner, sit down meal sort of thing. So that kind of covers it. And then maybe on a Friday, no, usually on a Saturday night, because see having like a Chinese or something before a football match, oh my days. You
yeah.
wake up from a Chinese like you drank 4 liters of vodka. Like you are dehydrated
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
max.
True story.
Sahara Desert is in your mouth, sand pouring out of it. You need some water.
Yeah,
So usually on a Saturday night, just whatever's going, honestly, whether it's Chinese, Japanese, Indian, flip anything, honestly.
yeah.
As long as I don't have to cook it, I'm all good. I'm
No,
all good.
not the biggest cook then.
I depends. Yeah, sometimes like, oh yeah, I'll cook myself stir fry. That's great. And then sometimes like you just get done with stuff that you're doing, whether it's recording or check-in. You're like, I don't want to make food. I don't want to
Mhm.
make food. Like, nope. And to me, that ends up turning into buying 30p couscous from Lidl that you heat up with boiled water and then pouring a tin of tuna in it. And sometimes that'll just be me.
I'm even worse than that.
You can't get worse
I
than
have
that.
those 0% Greek yogurts from Aldi, the
Uh-huh.
50 grams of protein ones. I'll have one of them for breakfast every day with
Oh.
like nuts,
Yeah,
creamer,
yeah.
and drizzle of honey. And then if it like last night, this happened last night. It got to like 7:30, 8 o'clock. I hadn't eaten yet. I CBA cooking, and I was like, right, pot of yogurt, front fridge, in bowl, send it home.
Oh
I
no, yeah,
just
yeah.
quick and easy. And I'm a lazy cook. I like to I'm stir fry central, so I'm always on the hob, always fresh chicken. It's
Mhm.
just like it's dinner cooked in 10 minutes. I can never. I get hungry quite bad.
Yeah.
I become quite a moody, narky individual
Mhm.
if you starve me of food. So I'm always about like getting something cooked in 10 minutes, and I'm happy.
Well, steak's good for that, I suppose. Like
It
two
is,
and a
yeah,
half, two
good
and a
point
half
actually.
minutes each side. Boiled
Yeah,
broccoli for maybe like 10 minutes if it's still like a rock. Eat it anyway, and then just yeah.
yeah.
But
No,
no.
cool. Right, so we're jumping in depth again. So struggle. We had a little bit of a breather there talking about food.
Okay.
So what has been your biggest struggle, challenge in your life? How did you
Um,
combat this, and what did you learn?
that's tough. I mean,
It is a deep one, that.
struggle, so many struggles. I suppose everyone has so many struggles. Let me if well, I mean, this is kind of a random struggle, but I am terrible at English. Not the spoken word, as well, you may think I am based off my, accent and everything. But like, I mean, punctuation. Like I remember, yeah, the 2 days ago, I said to one of my clients, I was like, oh, I really struggle with English. And they were like, no, I can tell. I was like,
Really?
I was like,
Like
oh,
straight face. I can
okay.
tell.
I was like, is it that bad? They're like, no, it's readable. I was like, oh, all right, sorry. I'll
Wow.
just, yeah. No, English massive struggle, still a massive struggle. Just don't know,
Yeah.
can't comprehend it. Definitely undiagnosed dyslexic or something. My wee sister is, so it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, apart from the light-hearted struggles of the English language, I don't know. I suppose losing people
Yeah.
is the hardest thing in life, I suppose. Obviously kind of backtracking, never knew my dad, which completely fine. Like my mates joke about it like it's funny. Like it's not like, oh my goodness, I never knew my dad. Like I don't really care, and I'm being honest when I say that. And so yeah, mom had me young, single mom with granny and granda most days. She's full-time working. Childhood was amazing, can't complain. And when I was maybe like 10, 11, 12, mom got married, so stepdad, and he had 2 kids, so 2 stepsisters. And then I think it must be about 5, 6 years ago now. I could be completely wrong in the time frame, but he got bowel cancer and died, which like was tough. I'm not gonna like sit here and say that he always like a dad to me. Like I was really, really close to him. Like he was just in my life a lot and
Yeah.
was a male figure. So like it was like, oh my goodness, like I'm gonna take him back. That's, and especially like when you seeing your mom lose her husband and all sorts of things. I think I was 16 at the time. I actually remember being in with my friends in the car out for a drive. I don't know why, just 16 things. And then getting the phone call. And I was like, oh, I just froze. I was like, oh, okay. Because we knew it was coming. Like it come to the
Yeah.
stage where it was like terminal and like just at home slowly deteriorating, which doesn't sound nice, but that's the reality of it. And so he passed away then. So life was kind of weird after that, and just in the sense of like more so, not more so for me, but it was like the people around me, like my younger sister who's 12, that was her dad. So she was maybe like 4, 5,
Yeah.
6 at the time and trying to like comprehend that, and like weirdly me being a male figure to her who she'd like come on to, and I'm like, oh, get off me, you're my sister, but at the same time I'm like, no, like she's lost her
Mm.
dad, like I need to be not a dad, but like, a male good figure,
Figure.
loving, all that
Yeah.
sort of things. So that was a struggle. And then 2 years ago, COVID. Was it 2 years ago? It's bound to be 2 years ago. Is it?
I think it's three, isn't it? I think it
No,
started 3 years ago
yeah, it could be
now,
3. I don't know.
I
But
think.
like halfway into COVID, bearing in mind, as I kind of mentioned before, my granddad is my dad. Like, I mean, the man was in my life every day, lifts, money, like, and that sounds awful me saying money, but like the financial help,
Yeah.
left
Yeah.
support, love,
Guardian is.
whatever you name it, the man done it. Granny was almost like a mum, and my mum almost felt like my sister because of like the age bracket. Like
Yeah.
I'm 23 and she's 43, so it's like she feels like an older sister, which is strange to say about your mum, but still mum.
Yeah.
And yeah, Granda got COVID and died through like like the part where you weren't allowed to do anything.
Right. Yeah.
So he did. So he got COVID and like didn't go to the doctors. Just man was like, no, I'm fine. And then got to the point where like oxygen levels were low. I remember the ambulance was rung. I remember driving because my granny's house and my mom's house is very, very close. So I remember it like splits round, and I remember driving around to my mom's and seeing like these blue flashing lights. And I was like, because I knew Granda was like, I thought had the cold at the time. We
Yeah.
didn't test or anything like that. And I remember saying to my girlfriend at the time, I was like, oh my days, I wonder if that's at my granny's house. Like, oh shit. So I drove back around. Went in. It was like just no oxygen, like just not there, in hysterics basically. And I remember like
Mm.
having to put him on, like the stretcher thing. Like he was a big man, like not massively overweight, but he's like my height, and he was like 19, 20 stone. But like
Right, okay.
all
Yeah.
of his weight was in his stomach. I'm not going to try
I
and
see.
call him overweight here, but you know what I mean. Big man, strong man. Yeah, remember helping the ambulance people put him down onto like the gurney thing, taking him out. And then I remember him saying to me, he was like, he like wasn't himself at all because obviously low oxygen, like deprived the brain, like was a wee bit like delirious. But then said like, if anything happens, just make sure Granny's okay. And we thought
Yeah.
nothing of it. We thought, we'd go into hospital, they'll fill him up with oxygen or whatever they do, and he'll come around. He's usually never really gets a cold or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then like I remember a week or two went by and it slowly just was like, yeah, he's not coming out of hospital, I don't think. And obviously it was confirmed, got COVID, whatever the case was be. And it must have been like 2 weeks before he passed away. But he would like ring and FaceTime, and we weren't allowed to go in or anything like that there. And we'd like chat, but it just wasn't him. It was like an oxygen deprived version of him, which was so
Right.
strange. Like he wouldn't really remember things and would like go off on tangents sometimes. But then there'd be times where it would be him. You're like, oh my goodness, this is great. But it would
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
intermittently.
Understand. Yeah. Yeah.
And like 2 weeks before he passed, I remember sitting in bed and turning around to my girlfriend and being like, yeah, grandma's not coming home, which is a weird thing to come to terms, because obviously you're like, oh no, you pray for the best, you want the best, like he's gonna come home, but like being
Yeah.
like the wee realistic on, like it shoots me in the foot all the time, but like always try and be as realistic as possible, which at times isn't nice, sometimes can be quite morbid. I was like, based on like Granda's health, his weight, his age, the fact that he's a male, the fact that he's got COVID, the fact that he's in intensive care, chances are, like this is my head, like percentage wise, like he ain't coming out.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
2 weeks prior to him even passing, like I was almost grieving from then.
Right.
So when he
Yeah. Yeah.
finally did, which was quite, well, in a weird way, it was like we all got a phone call 2 weeks later, like Grandma was passing away. So all aunties and uncles are all kind of feel like brothers and sisters because of the age gap. We all went in, and we were allowed to go into ICU when they were switching off the machines, which was, I mean, like traumatic. Like I just
Yeah.
sobbed like a child, which obviously you would.
Mm.
But we all went in. machines were switched off, things were was it was, and like when he passed, it was almost like I had already grieved. So like during the funeral and stuff, like obviously teared up and cried a bit, but I wasn't like catastrophically broken considering this man was like the biggest thing in my life
Yeah.
in a weird way. And like there was a few family members that weren't too happy about the fact that like I wasn't massively like
Grieving,
gurning and upset. And then I
yeah,
tried to explain to them what I just explained to you, and they were like, "What?" Like just couldn't comprehend that. They were like, "Oh, well, Dad was always coming home." I was like, "Did you not ever sit and think of the possibilities that, he might not have came out the other end?"
Yeah.
Which is probably I'm one of the only. Well, I'm sure there's loads of people that do stuff like that, but yeah, those two things. I mean, there's been those, and then the aftermath of the whole family situation after that has definitely been a massive struggle, and it's still ongoing. But I think to kind of summarize it, what would keep me going, number one, which I'll not massively delve into because I'm sure other people have their opinions, would be like my faith and religion that I follow. So that obviously kind of supports you and kind of put your head at ease to a sense. But it's more so that anytime anything goes wrong, before I get pissed off, before I get angry, which sometimes doesn't always work, I genuinely always sit there and think that there is someone on the planet that has it so much worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I remember like yes, you didn't know your dad, stepdad passed away, grandpa passed away. I was like, there's probably someone that doesn't know any of their family ever and has been shipped off to a different country, has adopted parents, doesn't know any of their family, didn't get to spend any time with their mum and dad or granddad or granny or granddad or anybody. So like to me that's worse. So it's like, you know what? It's bad, but it's not that bad.
Yeah. I think also very much comes down to the individual and how mentally strong you are as well. I think obviously I always say to people, I think even though someone can go through a tragic time and someone else can go through exactly the same tragic time but not cope with it as near as well as what you do. It's not related, but everyone's an individual and everyone copes with stress and all the stresses differently. And I think the most important thing is that I'm going to be doing a podcast on mental health in weeks to come with someone that works in mental health. I think the biggest thing is that no matter how hard times get, you always, at least there's someone there you can reach out to always talk to always,
you've got to you've got
to have that network there regardless. I think you speaking about obviously grieving a little before he passed. Obviously I told you I lost my mum earlier this year, and I can relate a little bit on grounds of that. When someone's going to be passing and what's coming, you try to work through things as much as you can to try and protect yourself, don't you?
Yeah, it's a weird coping mechanism that not a lot of people have, but you'll slowly start to realize as people pass away in your life. And it's so strange that like your brain would go to those lengths to like almost put you in a good position. But to kind of like touch on the whole, like I don't know, like obviously mental health is massively important and it's something that I mean everybody, whether they want to admit it, has struggled with. But like it was for me, it was like I never ever like not that I would be like too prideful or too ashamed to be like, oh no, I was depressed or oh, I have anxiety. I mean, I get anxious over certain things, but like I always had, because of the people that I've grown up around, like always had coping mechanisms in my own head, which is good to a certain degree. But there has been times where like, especially with my girlfriend mainly, like you would just pour your heart out and cry your eyes out, and then you do feel better after that. Like it's like you have sometimes there's so much you can deal with no matter what you think. Sometimes you just need a rant or a cry or whatever the case is, and it kind of just hits the reset button for a while, and then you just get up and go again, because it is relentless. Life is amazing, but at the same time it can be like one of those things.
No, thank you for sharing.
No problem.
That was epic. So we'll move on to that. So flipping the coin. So if you could be doing anything else than what you are doing right now, in a career path, what would you be doing and why? If like right now we could click a finger and you're educated in this particular thing,
any job,
anything at all.
Come on. I'm going to pick something so shit. I'm going to pick something so terrible. Because I'm trying to think, what things do I kind of like now that's not fitness? I mean, I could sit here and go, I'd love to be a professional footballer, which I would, but then sometimes I see that like they don't get treated like human beings. No. Like they get shit thrown their way 24/7, 365 days a year.
Yeah.
And it's like, could I cope with that? Like I remember playing like a decent level of football and struggling with like weird battles in your head of, are you good enough, like constantly, which would make you play terrible. So I don't know. Football's definitely up there. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I'm not a professional footballer.
Yeah.
From like an everyday job, I mean, to say I enjoy fixing cars is a bit of a stretch. That's something that like family members have done. Like granddad and uncle were mechanics.
Yeah.
They didn't have any interest in it until he passed away, and I was like, oh well, that's great. You know, I could have been interested in it whilst he was alive. That would have been a lot more fun. Um, I mean, yeah, I do. I don't know whether I just like the look of cars, or you know, I try to fix stuff just to save myself some money from taking it to the mechanic. Honestly, like
Would you class yourself as quite a practical person? So obviously, going back to our chats before, you said you weren't very academic, and I can relate on a lot of levels. In school, I was horrendous. Like you, I got an E in math, and I think I got literally a U for useless in French. In my French exam, I spoke English with a French accent.
Here, that's good.
My teacher sat there watching her face go from normal to redder and redder and redder as we got through the oral exam.
Oh,
it's hilarious. But yeah, so I class myself as quite practical minded, I'm quite a hands-on person. So like coaching, PT, and things that I can use my hands with, I find myself I quite enjoyed that process.
Yeah, I will.
Better than
I will
sitting
just
down
try
with books.
and I will just try and put my hand to everything. Anything.
Would you say that you're more practical minded than what you are?
100%. Whether it's putting up a door, taking down a door, fixing a car, I don't know, fixing a washing machine. I know these sound a lot like mechanical fixing issues, but like yeah, painting, just anything that I think that I can do myself, I will 100% give it a go. Like no matter, like, well, if it's practical, let me. If to sit down, research and stuff, like oh my days, I couldn't think of anything worse. And at times you just have to sit down and do it. But no, yeah, I think it's just I hate the, well, I don't hate to keep mentioning it, but like that's just what my granddad was. He just was like, if he needed a door put up, he could put up a door. If he could fix a digger, he could fix a digger. If he could randomly do something. But it's just like having that kind of hands-on mechanical DIY-ish brain in your head to like problem solve, which helps a lot in coaching and things like that. I think it's just like, right, can I do this? I'll try it until it makes me want to, like, honestly beat the, like, I remember my garage door has a lock on the bottom of it, right? And there's two handles. I have a coded handle on one and a bottom handle at the bottom. And I slammed the door closed one day. Didn't mean to. And the inside lock turned itself around from the vibration of the slam and locked me out. And all my days, I was like, you know what? No, I'm not going to get a locksmith. I'm not going to try and find the key because it was lost 15 years ago. I will try and take the door handle off and get in. I ended up getting a hammer and with so much rage, smashing the whole thing off. I eventually got in. But yeah, I'll try and do as much as I can until it pisses me off.
And then how's the garage door now? Is it
oh yeah, no, I smashed the handle completely off, and obviously the top digit code thing still works to open the door. So I bought like a handle plate that just covers the massive hole and put it on both sides. So there's like two random handles in the bottom of the door. But yeah.
No, fantastic. Quality. Okay, so jumping about bit more back into the fitness industry now. So if you could change anything, so obviously I remember I know we follow a very non-BS approach and putting factual information out there. But so if you could change anything in the fitness industry right now that you could have an impact on right now, what would it be and why?
I suppose it's a bit of a cop out to say the whole thing. Let me. I don't know, where do you start? Honestly, where do you start? Like, because I think we're in a place now where it's information overload. So, because I mean, you'll remember slightly better than I would, just kind of like how fitness has progressed, like year from maybe like 10, 15 years ago. It kind of went from 6-week programs and fad diets to kind of like a wee bit better, but then like HIIT training and stuff came in and cardio was the answer, and then it kind of progressed to no, you need to actually build muscle and get strong. But then you've kind of got all, I hate to say it, but the woke side of things that is kind of now almost the brand new HIIT training or the brand new fad diets, which is like, don't eat this, don't do that, try this, try that, and everyone's answer is the best answer. So if there was a way for me to, I don't know, not have, if there was a way for me to put across and to tell the world like about all the misinformation and try and categorize it in a weird sense, so that it was so much easier to kind of go through
Understand.
and
Yeah,
understand, and just to simplify everything for everybody. I would just, yeah, if I could just push, if someone, instead of going on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and people getting fed everybody, I wish there was a magic way that, like, they would just, I hate to say fed the correct people because you sound like a prick saying that, but I just,
no, I don't think you sound like a prick like that. I think the issue, I mean, it's like, it's something that I follow. There's a video when I'm doing this on my content by Magrin, but there's someone out there that, like you said, it was putting out some that seemed to start like some really good informative content about calorie deficit, belly fat and stuff like that. But 2 minutes in, you started going up belly fat, and then like the differences between your body using fats and carbs for energy, how your body prefers to use X rather than Z. And then obviously went on the spiel of like so in depth that he didn't need to go to, which then to say, go to the link in my bio and buy this special formula that will make sure your body uses this instead of this for burning calories and burning fat. And I'm just like, I was like, the first minute of the video was quality. He seemed like a genuine quality guy, and he's got thousands of followers on TikTok. But then like a minute in, you're like, the penny drops, and you're like, well, there's the scapegoat. There's the link.
I think if there was one thing, just like simply like, I'll fix that and get rid of it, is the fact that people think they can target fat loss in certain parts of their body. That drives me up the walls, honestly, because there's just people I've come across that I think there's a greater portion of the population now that understand that you can't do that.
Yeah.
But there's also a portion of people that think that even though you've told them that they can't do that, they will still continue to ask you, oh, I should do sit-ups so I can take fat off my stomach then.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. So if I could never hear that question again, I think that would be the one thing I would be like, nah, no more of that, please.
That's good. I think keto's a massive hype train, right? Still. Still.
But it'll never go away, I don't think.
No. Well, no quality answer. So we're getting towards the end now. So I like this question. I did Google a few questions that I thought I was going to ask you today, and I'm doing this for the majority of my future podcasts. Is there anything that you wish that I asked you today that I didn't ask you, Ben?
Anything this is almost like, at the end of the interview, and then like you have those questions set up for the people asking you questions. It's like, oh, I don't know, I'm trying to think. I think if I was to ask you a question, obviously you could kind of go down the line of the questions you've asked me with struggles and things like that. But would you say that, here's a question, do you think the online coaches and personal trainers, and this is going to be quite subjective because we both are one, so obviously everyone listening, take it with a pinch of salt, all right? It's not that deep. Do you think personal trainers and online coaches, for the most part, are undervalued? In every sense.
Massively.
Yeah.
I think it's a massively. I think that what we do as a job is undervalued massively. I think especially in our this question was actually, is there anything I didn't ask you that you wish I did ask you? But I'll answer this first anyway.
Probably, in a roundabout way, that kind of is that question.
Yeah, that's true. As you asked me, I'll answer it, and then I'll let you answer. So I think we are massive. I think especially as this country, especially the UK, and the obesity pandemic that we're in, and how much fitness and exercise and how important it is that we should be doing more of that. It's really not appreciated for the work we do, and I'm not sure that's because of the way that we're paid, because we're not part of the healthcare system, possibly because of the way that we're educated. Because as you said, you spoke about earlier in this podcast about how it's so easy to get a qual.
Oh yeah. Oh my.
Could that be why we're not valued? You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. That adds to it, because I mean, it's like, it's almost, I don't know about you, but there's certain people that you come across. I haven't experienced as much just because of my time being a personal trainer and an online coach. But sometimes you're like, I don't know, whether you're going to a social event or a dinner or something like that, you'll sit down and I'll ask you what you do, and you'll say you're a PT. And they just kind of go, oh, okay. And some people roll their eyes. Some people you can just tell by their body language, their facial expression, that it's like, oh, he's another one of those. Yeah, good lad. Yeah, keep it up.
I think a lot of people think that a lot of people have egos and things like that. I think it's interesting dating as well, actually, because I was dating a few months ago. And people have perceptions and thoughts of how you look and how you are based on how you are. They think, oh, you're an egotistic PT that's up himself and on all this kind of stuff. So we do definitely have we're branded to some extent. But yeah, no, I think we are. I think very much so. I think because the online, let's face it, especially the online coaching demographic is not measured, not regulated. I think because of that, people's experience with one online coach to another can be completely different. Me and yourself, we sing well and we give a good service, to what I'm told anyway. And I just blow my own trumpet, but I think other experiences that people have with other coaches have been, questionable and,
Oh my days. Do you know, I'm just thinking back to one of your questions. Do you know what one thing I would change about see, this is me being me. This, it probably doesn't need change. It's not big of a deal.
I think I don't know what you're going to say,
but no, trust me, it's not. You see online coaches that do check-in calls with more than 10 people in them. Do you ever see these like big group chat calls?
Yeah,
like 20, like why? In my head, like I'm sure some people love it. The community feeling, the family feeling, I understand that. I get that. I'm not trying to be an asshole. But to me, I've came across with some people and they've genuinely said to me, do you think I care about what Johnny down the road is doing with his fitness journey? And they know, he's even said to me, they know I'm getting put in a massive call of 10 to 20 people to save time.
Yeah. That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, I suppose it depends on someone's service. And if they tell you you're doing that, you're on board for it or not. But I don't know, pet peeve just kind of pisses me off sometimes when I see them.
It's just taking about the person, the one-to-one support, isn't it? It's just acting on that. It's very well if you offer something like that within as well as once a week that you have like a call with people that ask questions.
If you tell the person like this is what this is, but like there's people that like be like, oh yeah, there's a check-in call, and then you get your Zoom link, bang, 20 people sitting in front of you. What is that about?
Yeah.
I'd leave straight away. Go, no, that's not for me. I'm okay.
And not even to say that those people may not feel confident or comfortable talking about the issues that they have or addressing that in front of a world of people. It's not.
But you're speaking to someone who avoided PowerPoint presentations in school. The whole way through school. Did I do one of them? Nope. Did I fake sick and not go in for it is more for me, it's more the environment. I'm in front of like people that I kind of know. It's school people, but just like public speaking, me standing up with a microphone like this, which might sound nuts if you watch my content, right? Fair enough. But it's just something about that environment. I avoided every single one. Fake sick, fake injuries from football, sleeping in, just denying to go in, telling my mum I got a PowerPoint presentation tomorrow. I'm not going. I still haven't done one to this day.
Yeah.
Don't know why. Just can't. I don't know. Worst thing
that may change over. That's something I'm looking at getting into at the moment. Public speaking, doing a few bits at schools and stuff like that. I used to play the guitar when I was younger, right? So I used to perform in front of like thousands of people when I used to play when I was younger. So that and
helped.
I don't know. So so it's something I'm going to start getting into these next few weeks. I want to get into schools and use a bit of my transformation story to kind of wake people up and to realize how important fitness and health is for the majority of people. I think it's different.
Like I can take if you want me to take a circuit class, brilliant.
Yeah.
I've done classes with 10, 15. I've done like it wasn't an elderly class, but there's a word for it. I can't think of it now. And there's like 20, 30, 40 people there. Got a wee bit nervous, but if you told me that tomorrow you're doing a PowerPoint on fitness, like the word PowerPoint and the actual application of a PowerPoint in front of X amount of people, you best believe I'm just not showing up. So
washing your hair, busy washing your hair.
Oh yeah, just busy, busy, really busy. Oh no, the question, the other question, what was it? Massively undervalued. I mean, this is going to blow smoke up all PT and online coaches, but I'm talking about good coaches, right? Good coaches, not like if you're getting people in now in 6 weeks, unless I've got a wedding or a holiday on the off chance, that is somewhat okay. Like I understand that, but I mean, for good coaches who have dedicated their lives, whether it's a physio, whether it's a nutritionist, whether it's a PT, whether it's an online coach, whatever aspect, avenue of fitness that you're in, name me another profession that provides you with knowledge and content that not only betters your life, the people around you, the relationships that you're in, and that you have that information for the rest of your days and you use it until probably the minute you kick the bucket. I don't think there's very many. And and then people want to complain about prices and stuff like that, like take that into consideration and then come back to me, because I think, let's say, for example, let's say £100 for online coaching, and you do it for 12 weeks, £300. You could learn stuff that could change the next 40 years of your life inside 12 weeks for £300, and people just don't want to educate themselves.
No.
If you don't have the money, that's totally fine. Understand that loads of free content out there. If you've got the time, go look at it. You know, we've all been there, we've all done it. But I think that is one of the main things about this industry that just is like, wow.
Yeah, no, you're bang on there. I think, I think that's not enough is done through our schooling systems to educate people. And then, you know, I think that there should be we should have more links through. I mean, there are obviously PTs that work with doctors and so forth, but I think there should be more in tow with us and you know, the professional medical demographic, because the more people that are fitter and healthier and have less weight on them, less impact that has on the National Health Service, the less impact that has on everything.
Oh yeah, more productive.
So much disease, you know, is derived from, like it or not, being bigger.
Whether you're a conspiracy theorist or not, and that's what people of the government want, that's another question, I suppose. That's another podcast. That's a different podcast. That's what that is.
We'll save that for another day.
Yeah,
we'll save that for another day. So on that note, we'll call that a wrap there. My clients know me for saying that's a wrap.
Yeah.
So to finish off, obviously, thank you for coming on, Ben. Mostly appreciate your time. But most importantly, if my listeners want to come find you on socials, your TikTok and that, if you want to give some information, that'd be awesome.
I mean, this is my first time doing this, so listen up closely. If you want to find me on social media, I mean, your best bet is Instagram and TikTok. If you type in Coach Campbell with 3 L's at the end, Campbell usually has 2, but someone stole the username, so Coach Campbell with 3 L's at the end. Instagram, TikTok, reach out, drop me a follow. That's the best place to find me.
Awesome, thank you. So yes, that's the first guest on the podcast. So again, thank you for coming on.
No problem.
It's been a great chat. If you guys would like to me and Ben to come on and speak some more jargon in the future, let us know. Give us some critical feedback, 100%. And I'll catch you guys on the next podcast. So thank you again, Ben, and I'll
thank you very much.
You guys soon.
See you later.